the International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, President Gengop suspends curfew. Soldiers and convicts can be forced to get vaccinated, says Legal Assistance Center. NSFAF delivers on laptops valued at nearly 60 million Namibia dollars to needy students. Health Ministry receives 1 million Namibia dollars from France Indongo Group. Zambezi horticulturalists triumph despite challenges. And round up Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. First up, at the 35th COVID-19 response public briefing this morning, President Hage Geingob announced that the current curfew will be suspended altogether, allowing for greater economic activity, particularly with respect to long-haul public transport operators and the entertainment industry. The new public health regulations will come into effect for a period of 30 days from Saturday, 16 October until midnight Monday, the 15th of November. Public gatherings, as defined in the regulations, have been adjusted to 200 persons per event. Spectators at sporting events are permitted up to 200 persons per event. Restrictions related to liquor remain as is. All recreational places such as nightclubs, casinos, gambling houses, betting houses and gyms may continue operations as is, allowing patrons up to half capacity, while burials of persons who succumb to COVID-19 or whose deaths are COVID-19 related must continue to take place within a period of 10 days. On-site consumption of meals at all gatherings, including burials, will now be permitted. The restriction on the number of persons attending burials of 200 applies to mourners only, excluding essential workers. Information and data gathered by the National COVID-19 Dashboard Monitoring Cluster for the period from 16 September 2021 to yesterday, 14 October 2021, indicates that Namibia has been observing a marked decline in the number of new confirmed COVID-19 cases and deaths across the entire country. On vaccination coverage, the President noted that there are signs of progress, especially in the regions that have borne the brunt of the pandemic historically, such as Hardap, Karas, Khomas and Irongo, adding that an average vaccine uptake of 2,871 doses have been recorded per day. This figure has declined compared to the daily uptake a month ago. He, however, noted that there is a need to do more in this regard and get more people vaccinated. Nationally, vaccination coverage currently stands at 19.5% of total population for those who have received their first dose, while 15% of the population today are fully vaccinated.
Enjoy these fantastic mid-month savings only at Clicks until 20 October. Buy Clicks 2-ply toilet paper 18 rolls $89.99 per pack. Buy Pampers Premium Care Pants Value Pack, 2 for $214 per pack and 1 for $230.99. Or buy Vaseline body lotion or cream 400 ml 2 for $71. Clicks, feel good, pay less.
We can't wait to welcome new friends. But until then, let's stay safe.
The Legal Assistance Center disclosed at the launch of a new publication titled Vaccine Mandates that the Correctional Service Act 9 of 2012 and the Defense Act 1 of 2002 in Namibia's statute law makes provision for inmates and soldiers to be vaccinated without their consent.
The Namibian legal context of vaccine mandates, as well as contemporary legislative developments around the world, are investigated in a new study conducted by the LAC with support from the Hans Seidel Foundation. According to Diane Herbert, the study's author, there are some government sectors where obligatory vaccinations are required, such as correctional services and the military.
The only two places in our law where you can actually forcibly drag somebody is, one, think about it, is the correctional services. You have a population who is there very involuntarily. Inmates cannot say, I want to leave because I feel unsafe. So in some ways you can say, okay, that's an exception that one can understand, because we need to protect a group of people who don't have the option to walk away. And in the Defense Force, I think it's also an unusual context. Heaven forbid that our country should be at war, but can you imagine how devastating it would be if an infectious disease swept through the ranks of the people who are meant to be defending us? You can imagine that that could cause chaos and be a national security issue. So I think it's not accidental that those are the only two contexts where the law allows somebody to actually be injected with something without their consent, because they're unusual contexts. But again, coming back, in every country that's looked at this, they look at what is the objective and what is proportional to the objective. So I think that COVID is a particular case because it's a disease that can be, and in many cases is, fatal. So it's not the same as saying to somebody, we're going to forcibly vaccinate you against chickenpox, which is, to the best of my knowledge, rarely fatal. So, you know, the courts have said you have to say how big is the risk and how proportional is what you're asking people to do compared to the risk.
Herbert further claimed that Namibia's Labour Act gives employers the right to enforce vaccine mandates, bolstering the idea that businesses have a responsibility to safeguard workers and members of the public who come into contact with the workplace.
The other thing I just wanted to highlight was the relevant statutory law, just so that I think this is something that's kind of has not been acknowledged in the debates that have been happening on social media. As Tanya mentioned, the Labour Act gives employers duties not only to their employees, but also to members of the public who might come in contact with their business. They have a statutory duty to make their business safe for all employees and for members of the public. There's also a provision in the Labour Act that says an employee who feels that the workplace is not safe and healthy can actually walk out without having to face any negative consequences for doing so.
According to the study, the Namibian government has stated that it is not considering legislation that would make vaccination mandatory for all citizens at this point. President Hage Geingob also recently stated in the media that COVID-19 vaccinations in the country are still voluntary, despite widespread discussion on many platforms about mandatory vaccination, even for private employees.
The Namibia Students Financial Assistance Fund, together with the Ministry of Higher Education, Training and Innovation this week, handed over HP and Lenovo laptops to students from various higher learning institutions, such as IUM, Vivicha, UNAM and NUST. This initiative is part of the government's effort to assist students in accessing e-learning.
The Minister of Higher Education, Training and Innovation, Itakanji Murangi, at the occasion stressed that the laptops are meant to assist students from marginalized communities. She further urged students to maximize and optimize their learning opportunities with the new laptop devices.
Let me say this here. It is important that if you know that you will need a laptop, if you know that there is no other means elsewhere you can get a laptop, please visit this website. The government is availing these subsidized devices to you to have access to learning 24/7. The government looks at each and every one of these recipients, the recipients of this program or laptops, as well as all the other students in our various tertiary institutions, as really people that can move this country forward in the near future. You know the move now is blended teaching. You need to arm yourselves with the right equipment. You need to arm yourselves with the right knowledge of technology so that really you get the best from these gadgets. Therefore, various higher education institutions and student bodies were requested to assist in identifying these students. I understand NASFAF has received a list of needy students as identified by their respective institutions of higher learning, as well as a list of those from marginalized communities. This is to ensure that this group of students are prioritized. It is a fact that sometimes, even at the ministry level or at NASFAF level, we don't get to hear or see the challenges that students are facing. But because of the extension that we have through the student leaders at the various institutions, through the student organizations that exist in our country, we get to hear rather quickly about the challenges that face and sometimes derail our students from the journey of academia. And for that we commend them.
Secretary to the Higher Education Interagency Committee, mandated to ensure acquisition and distribution of software and online devices, at the occasion remarked that over 100 students have received laptops previously, with over 1,000 applications received during this application process.
This project was mainly a response to the challenges that the COVID-19 pandemic brought about. Due to the very same matter, we understand that there have been many interferences and delays, hence the late arrivals of the laptops. However, we are glad that we are here at this point of distribution of the laptops. Despite the minor and major challenges, the team is determined to ensure that the aim and the goals of this initiative is targeted. Since the data devices arrived earlier, the distribution process at registration point was carried out by the institutions of higher learning, and we have received positive feedback from the respective institutions of higher learning. This means that we are moving forward.
First-year Introduction to Science, Engineering and Mathematics recipient student Helene Nekonda at the occasion noted that the initiative will now make learning easier for students who previously had no means to a computer device, adding that students previously had to borrow laptops from friends and family to catch up with online learning.
We have met this question from people that as soon as we don't have the devices to connect with our lessons, that is how do we manage with our online lessons? Well, it takes a lot and it's a challenge. We go extra miles to keep up. We mostly use our smartphone devices, go to campus, computer labs, or sometimes borrow laptops from our relatives or close friends. Every student who is coming from a disadvantaged background will relate to the challenges that comes with the remote teaching and learning. We feel as though we are always left out. I appreciate the student leaders and youth advocates who fought for this initiative and had us in their minds. I have a lot to say, but due to time, I would like to say God has eliminated all my anxieties and fears of how I was going to keep up with the online studies, tests, exams.
Applications for the laptops will close on the 28th of October 2021, and students are given 3 options for the applications: to either get the laptop using their NSFAF loan. NSFAF funded students to indicate whether funds should be deducted from their non-tuition fees, or students can opt to pay cash for the laptops.
Get ready to enjoy Simba's sounds of flavor.
All the Simba flavors. Let's roll. Liza, smoke beef. Kwanga finiga. Shaya chaki. Shakita mat.
Together we roar because Simba roars with flavor.
With over 100,000 active COVID-19 cases and 3,000 COVID-19 related deaths in Namibia, the Ministry of Health and Social Services, the public and private sector have been pulling together to curb the deadly pandemic in the country with a recent donation of 1 million Namibia dollars to the ministry from the Frans Indongo Group.
The Frans Indongo Group recently donated $1 million to the Ministry of Health and Social Services aimed at buying sanitizers and oxygen concentrators to assist patients that are in need of oxygen when admitted in hospitals. Soli Amadila, the chairman of Frans Indongo Trust at the handover, said that fighting the COVID-19 is a collective thing, urging stakeholders to join the fight and assist the ministry and other sectors to help curb the COVID-19 pandemic and other issues faced within communities such as unemployment and poverty that is now at the rise.
Looking for ways of self-sustenance and survival, the Frans Indongo Group, through the Trust, continues to show unwavering commitment to continue creating an impact and a lasting legacy for the people of this country. Combating the COVID-19 pandemic is a collective responsibility. The COVID-19 crisis has not only affected the well-being of our people, it is affecting the entire world economy and that of Namibia at large. Some key sectors of the Namibian economy have experienced a slowdown because of the pandemic, and the people have lost jobs. Therefore, the fight against poverty is more critical more than ever before. The pandemic showed us that by cooperating, we can rebuild a more sustainable world. As much as economic scales of pandemic grabs attention, the human toll is even more pressing. And the Frans Indongo Trust find it equally important to save lives today for the Namibian economy to rebuild and own itself tomorrow.
The Minister of Health and Social Services commended the Frans Indongo Group for their kind gesture, stating that this will come in handy in the continued fight of the invisible enemy, as this will secure the much-needed necessities for the Ministry of Health that would help curb the COVID-19.
Namibia's early and ongoing response to COVID-19 has been robust and effective to such an extent that we are steadily emerging from one of the most devastating periods in the history of our public health sector. Responding to the request for support, the Frans Indongo Trust did not hesitate to assist government efforts to manage, contain, and curb the further spread of COVID-19. I'm happy that the Frans Indongo Trust is taking action to help fellow countrymen and women. Community partnership in the public health sector addresses not only behavioral health, but instills a sense of responsibility to build healthy and resilient communities, which is what the Frans Indongo Trust is doing as it endeavors to protect the future through different commercial undertakings. This occasion today indeed reaffirms the importance of collaboration between government and the private sector, which continues to grow from strength to strength. As the country continues to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, it is imperative for each and every individual to play a part and assist in any way possible.
Shangula further cautioned Namibians to continue following the COVID-19 regulations put in place to make sure that the disease is completely eliminated in the country.
Despite having trouble with a broken water pump and scavenging monkeys, Janeti Kaliokela manages to grow vegetables which she sells to a nearby market. Janeti Kaliokela began growing crops in 2004, and in 2008 she acquired an electric pump. But the high cost of electricity and mechanical faults forced her to keep it in storage. She currently waters her crops using her neighbor's water pump.
I'm standing in the place called Kopano Garden, and my project name is Mata Project. We arrived here 2004. We started with a small piece of land where we planted some vegetables, tomatoes, spinach. That's what we started for, because by that time we did not find water. The people helped us water. We started pumping water from the river to the tank. We've been doing that for 3 years, and we extend our area.
Kaliokela is one of the first farmers in the area to have successfully planted potatoes with seeds from the Agro-Marketing Trade Agency.
Cabbage, when we planted it 50 by 50, we used to supply Shaka, Spa also. Those are the ones we used to buy from us as we start harvesting. This year, since we didn't have a problem, we have a problem, no one has been involved in potatoes. As you can see now in potatoes, and these potatoes also, they are busy bearing. This cabbage on the side, we have sowed it also.
Regardless of the hurdles in the way, she strives to produce good quality vegetables for her community.
We can't wait to get the whole gang together. But until then, let's stay safe.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
In other leading stories, the Agricultural Bank of Namibia announced this week that the board of the state entity has appointed Dr. Rafael Karuaye as the new Chief Executive Officer starting next January. The financial institution embarked on a recruitment process for new Chief Executive Officer since the departure of Zakaria Ngikembwa at the end of his 5-year term in July this year. Agribank's Chief Financial Officer Louis Dutoy served as interim CEO for 3 months. Karuaye is currently the head of commodities at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa. He has been with the JSE since 2012, where he oversees agricultural and non-agricultural commodities within the Capital Markets Division. Prior to that, he spent many years in the financial services industry, where he had advised institutional clients on retirement planning, investment and risk management. The International University of Management, in a series of measures to enhance the welfare of staff, announced salary increments of 5% across board effective 1st of October 2021. The IUM conveyed the news to their staff this week at a special meeting where the founder of the institution, David Namwandi, said the relief measures were approved by the Governing Council with the hope that it will go a long way in healing some of the pain experienced by members of the university, including financial hardships. Namwandi also said that IUM management is considering the same for medical aid scheme contributions, as well as the IUM study rebate granted to employees and their children studying at the institution.
Remember the mission, yeah, revisualize the vision, connect to the journey, start early. Step 1, step 2, next step, we start at the beginning of what a feeling. The future we believe in, let's start dreaming. NAMIBIA, no matter what they say, we here to stay. So find believers just like you. Hand in hand, this is what we do. More steps, yeah, we get through. Let's go. Start again. You can. You connected to the world, yeah, we stand. Determined to move on hand in hand. Put the switch on, a new reform. Let's rise. Together we rise. MTC, make the connection.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. NAMDEB, a joint venture between De Beers and the Namibian government, recently announced the extension of the lifespan of the southern mine. The operations of the mine are prolonged from the year 2022 to 2042, which is expected to contribute $40 billion to the country's economy.
NAMDEB Diamond Corporation launched a new long-term business plan that provides a significant life extension. The recently approved plan extends the operations of the land-based mine for another 2 decades. This brings hope to the country's economy as mining contributes immensely towards the gross domestic product after years of NAMDEB facing the possibility of closure.
Despite the challenges faced by NAMDEB, the partnership between the government and De Beers enabled both shareholders to hold hands in finding a viable solution to ensure continuity of mining operations beyond the current mining life of mine, which, as I said, was 2022. Now, to safeguard the Namibian economy, it was imperative for the government to decide and support NAMDEB by granting some sort of royalty relief.
The new life of the mine extension will deliver ongoing employment for NAMDEB's existing employment by the return of the 1,500 employees and 600 contractors.
The town of Aronyament will have a significantly extended period in which it can continue to do the great work it's doing to explore commercial opportunities to be truly viable and self-sustaining well beyond the end of mining. And the new business plan, of course, will enable delivery of nearly 8 million additional carats of beautiful Namibian diamonds for the global sector. So this is an outcome that is best described as win-win for all stakeholders. And De Beers could not be prouder of my colleagues in NAMDEB, my colleagues in De Beers, and of course all the great work we've had and support we've had from government to get us to this point.
The new long-term business plan will not only provide a long extension of the mine, but will have a positive impact on the socio-economic development of the country, especially in the southern region of Paras, with more focus on the town of Oranjemund, where most employees reside.
The long-term plan positively contributes to the socio-economic development of Namibia with direct benefits to the Karas region and in particular to the town of Oranjemund. The plan also supports the economic transformation of the town of Oranjemund, providing an extended period during which it's able to diversify and develop new economic activities which will be able to sustain the mine of the town beyond mining. And those are such as tourism, etc. And finally, this plan opens up new opportunities for us at NAMDEB to explore better ways of working and to demonstrate the goods that diamonds do in our communities and in our country in general. In this regard, we are, for instance, already starting to investigate options in renewable energy, and we also have the ambition to become a carbon-neutral operation by 2030.
This new plan ensures sustainability of the mine and will ensure a long-term positive impact for Namibia at large.
That is all we have for you. Be sure to join us again next time, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Compliment Gap. Compliment Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders. Invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
Dear teachers, we know all the hard work you put in every day to make sure our kids get the best education possible. It's also our goal here at One Africa TV's #LearnOn1. That's why we bring free quality supplementary lessons that are 100% Namibian, compliments of NMH's My Zone. Lessons include early childhood development programs and primary school lessons. These air on One Africa TV every weekday from 9 to 11 a.m. with repeats from 2 to 4 p.m. There's so much to learn with #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
This is my favorite gear, cause it speaks for me and all my brothers. Nivea Men Black and White Deo. With 5 times Deo action to protect you and your favorite gear from stains. Try Nivea's #1 anti-stain deodorant. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The International University of Management, in a series of measures to enhance the welfare of staff, announced salary increments of 5% across board, effective 1st October 2021. The IUM conveyed the news to their staff this week at a special meeting where the founder of the institution, David Namondi, said the relief measures were approved by the Governing Council with the hope that it will go a long way in healing some of the pain experienced by members of the university, including financial hardships. Matthew commended Dr. Namondi for the initiative, adding that others are waiting to be pushed. Pala says it will make a difference on expenses. And aiming to rescue commercial sex workers, rehabilitate them and give them a better chance in society, the King's Daughters organization, now in existence for 16 years, is working to reduce sex workers in Namibia through providing rehabilitation, counseling, education and skills training in beads, needlework and computer lessons. Maya says it's a good initiative. While Simeon commended the organization for a job well done. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on One.
Oranienmund, established in 1936, from which point onwards CDM, now Namdeb Diamond Corporation, provided every service, the schooling, infrastructure and entertainment required for the people of the town. The winds of change is blowing over Oranienmund, which is no longer a closed town.
This ship was commandeered by King Charles III, and he actually sent a knight to Spain to go and fetch some money from investors, because they wanted to go and fetch some spices in India.
When we were kids, the mine delivered milk, bread, and black paper, black plastic bags for your rubbish, and cleaned your garden, did the maintenance of your house. You had furniture already installed in your house.
Cheers. Tafolaga, Namibian like you.
Today's sports update is with Castro Ulumbu.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm your host, Castro Ulumbu. The Futsal Invite-Only League, which ended on the 29th of May 2021, is back as the 2021-2022 season is about to kick off on Friday, the 15th of October. Futsal Namibia is looking into starting a Premier League and has announced Express Credit as their official main sponsor. Today on One Sports has more on this story. Futsal Namibia this week launched the 2021-2022 Express Credit Futsal League, which will start on the 15th of October. According to Futsal Namibia founder Andre Tirtirao, the league will accommodate different divisions and is hoping to start an official Premier League in 2022.
At this point we have about 30 teams. We are sticking to the same format as before, so it's a league format with playoffs. It will span, depending on how many teams we end up having registered, it will span until January, with obviously a December break in between. We are looking at under 17s, we are looking at a ladies division and also a first division. The first division is we're starting to kind of see which are the teams that are taking futsal seriously, and we're starting to promote them, and hopefully by next year we should have a Premier League for futsal, which will be launched nationwide. We have about 10 teams per category. We have opened it to the over 35 as well, but unfortunately there hasn't been any entries. Although people have been asking, can you please start the over 35? We also want to play, we don't want to compete with the youngsters, but unfortunately there hasn't been any interest. In regards to the different divisions, such as under 17 and first division, we do have a female and male division, but it looks like on the female side we're going to combine the two together with the first division and the Premier League. We have decided to kind of put it a fixed fee throughout, so we don't have different ages or different divisions paying different prices. It's 1,500 entry, so it's about 150 per player to play between 2 to 4 games per weekend, which I think is really fair, and I think you get to play a lot of futsal for that entry money. As for the prizes, we decided to scratch the cash prizes because it became a little bit political, and we decided to rather go for lots of product sponsorships, to go for exposure and entry to the next leagues, and also looking at international exposure, which we're busy working on as well.
Some of the challenges hindering the organization from expanding nationally is infrastructure. However, founder Andre Tirtirao is considering a mobile court in order to teach futsal.
We're also looking at going into to regions, like we might take futsal to the north, and then Swakop or Valves. We're just looking at options at the moment. So if people are really interested in us bringing futsal to them, they should just let us know.
You know, there's been a lot of excitement. A lot more players have been watching it. They've been getting ready, looking at the different techniques and strategies on how to make the teams succeed. And yes, we are looking, as Absad mentioned, for a tournament or one weekend tournament to spark some interest at the coast during December, and also in the same time to run one in the north. We are looking at different locations in the north, just to do just to spark interest and see how we can take this nationwide. We are taking small steps towards a nationwide tournament. We've had large inquiries from teams, and in fact we might even have a team from Soccerman traveling every weekend to come play, because they've realized that we're serious about what we do and about bringing futsal forward in the country. For this league, we are proudly partnered up with Express Credit, which have come on board as a main sponsor, and we're truly thankful to have such a serious brand behind us, and we look forward to growing the sport with them. We are looking now on a 12 to 24 month plan in which we can actually start doing a roadshow for futsal. Where you actually take a court such as this one and you put it down in less than a couple of hours with a few guys, and then you can put it down everywhere and play. The thing is, futsal can be played anywhere. However, we want to start doing it correctly. So the idea of taking a court with us and putting it whatever we need to put it for that weekend is definitely something that's feasible, and is definitely something that we're looking at.
The 2021 Futsal Invite-Only League champions were ACFA in the Under-17 category, Tura Magic Ladies FC in the girls division, and the X-Men who won in the social division. And that is all we have for you tonight. Join us again next week for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Thanks for that update, Castro. Time now for the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast, but first an advisory from the Windhoek Met office. Very cold conditions are expected in the south in the early morning hours tomorrow, and windy conditions will persist. The interior partly cloudy and very cold to mild in the south, elsewhere partly cloudy and warm to hot. Windy conditions will persist. The coast partly cloudy and cool with a few showers in the extreme south. The wind light to fresh southwesterly. Now a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures around the country and beyond.
We have come to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team. Till next time, good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
The coronavirus that causes COVID-19 has changed since the pandemic started. So does this mean the virus has become more dangerous? Scientists have discovered thousands of mutations to the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Most mutations only lead to small changes, but scientists believe one, called D614G, may have made it easier for the virus to infect human cells. This mutation most likely emerged after the initial outbreak in China, and it spread fast after the virus arrived in Europe. By the end of June, the D614G mutation was found in almost all samples of the virus worldwide. Scientists believe this is due to amino acid changes in the virus's spike proteins, improving its ability to infect human cells. Some studies have found more spikes on viruses with this mutation. These spikes latch onto receptors on the surface of our cells. They then transfer the virus's genetic material, called RNA, inside. Being inside the host cell allows the virus to make many copies of itself. Random errors sometimes happen in the copying process, which cause mutations. Although the full effects of D614G are still unclear, some studies suggest that the mutated virus might be more transmissible than the original. This could mean more people getting sick and at a faster rate. Despite this, there isn't any evidence that the disease itself has become more severe. Scientists are worried about mutations possibly increasing the risk of reinfection. Hong Kong reported what could be the first case of virus reinfection on the 24th of August. A healthy man in his 30s is thought to have caught the virus again 4.5 months after he first got sick. During this time, mutations developed and new variants of the virus emerged. Some experts believe these changes may have made reinfections more likely. Mutations are common over the course of a pandemic. New flu vaccines are needed every winter to keep up with genetic changes to the flu virus. If a coronavirus vaccine is found, it could require regular booster jabs. Mutations won't happen overnight, and the coronavirus is mutating slower than the flu virus. But it's important for scientists to keep a close eye on how the virus changes over time. Could we be hearing more about other mutations in the future?
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
On the Gold Coast of West Africa lies the peaceful and diverse nation of Ghana. I'm pretty close right now to the geographical center of the Earth. It is also one of the last pockets for elephants in the wilds of West Africa.
Every country in the world just about has cattle, sheep, goats, horses, donkeys, but it's only Africa that has the real megafauna, the charismatic stuff which people in the rest of the world want to see.
The passion that the staff have for the job.
There's value to a bird which brings birders to a place like this. I mean, this is a birding paradise. We see an intrinsic appreciation and joy from seeing the wildlife out here, but not everybody does.
You can't get to Moli and then will not be passionate about what we do, because you'll be the only one left. Everybody is passionate.
The only worthwhile war, the war against destruction, the war against loss, the war for peace, for balance, for inclusion.
It is out of my work, buffaloes, elephants, tigers, atavis are still in existence.
If money fails, then Ghana is without wildlife.
Join me as we journey to the untamed wilderness of northern Ghana to meet these last defenders.
The people within the law enforcement agencies don't really know you're talking about a roan antelope. Somebody thinks it's just like a goat.
Hi beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I am here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take enough time that your body requires to release the amount of tension that you have. So let's get started. In this session, we will do neck stretches. I'm going to show you rotations, full rotations, you can do half rotations, and we're going to add a bit of tapping just to release the tension even more. Alternatively, give yourself a massage. If you have a lot of tension, go for the massage first before you do anything, just to warm the muscles, and let's get going. Full rotation. Releasing at every angle of this rotation. And I'm going to reverse, go the other side. All right, we'll do a half rotation. And then I'm going to just stop for a static stretch. Take the arm over the head, relax the shoulders. Drop the other arm, or alternatively, to deepen the stretch, take it right behind. Hold and release. Change to the other side, arm over the head, release the shoulder, let the weight of the arm pull you into the stretch. If you want to go deeper, take the arm around, relax the arm at the back, and release. One more to the front, interlace the fingers to the back of the head, lean the elbows forward, and release. If you're feeling a lot more tension, either go for the massage or just do some rotations. And that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. Happy stretching, and don't forget to breathe.
Man, you can't be anything, you should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience penny years, see the face of God and live.
I pray to God for my enemy. Why you baby, wanna baby? Insta baby, why you sick, what your mama gave ya? Everybody move, what your mama gave ya? Everybody sick, what your mama gave ya? Everybody move, yet lost the fact.
You are now watching the V10 Countdown.
We know the world is a crazy place right now, but don't panic. Take a breath, slow down, or better yet, stop completely. We'll still be here when everything settles down. In this time of uncertainty, look to nature. She has all the answers, you know. We're not only giving ourselves time to reset, we're giving nature time to restore, revive, restart. We're saving ourselves and we're saving the world. Stay home now so that we can welcome you to Namibia again soon. Yes, the world's a crazy place right now, but don't despair. Find the joy, cherish hope, breathe. Take a moment, take a few, and someday soon you'll once again be able to stay in wonder at this magnificent view. The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.
Humanitarian crises are all too familiar to television viewers. Civil wars that cause huge movements of refugees, worldwide pandemics, and natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis. This is the way most of us are used to seeing these heart-wrenching events, on a screen in front of us, watching passively. But what if you could step into the frame and actually feel what it's like for the individuals on the ground?
People come out of it feeling enlightened and often moved and often ready to take action. A lot of people automatically say, well, what can I do? How can I get involved?
Garbo Aurora is leading a team at the United Nations who are using cutting-edge technology to raise awareness, empathy and funds, both to respond to humanitarian crises and to bolster support for a new set of sustainable development goals around the globe.
Virtual reality is the ability to really take part in a story that usually you're only a passive spectator on. And you actually get the sensation of feeling like you're being there.
By using multiple cameras that can record in all directions and software that can stitch the images together, virtual reality creates an experience that enables the viewer to see a movie from every angle, above, below, and behind.
It's exciting for the UN, to be involved in some of those early experiments of how we're trying to tell stories, make these films, and work with some of the most cutting-edge people in the industry on it.
So the UN reached out to us and connected, and we realized that there was a great opportunity here to tell some very important stories and to tell them in a way that we thought would be totally new and highly impactful. The way that I define virtual reality at this point in time is basically the hacking of your senses to convince you that you're somewhere other than where you are. Often, I think of it as a sense of vulnerability. So one of the things we've realized in some of our stories is you have a heightened sense of empathy and a heightened sense of connection as a result of that vulnerability.
That heightened sense of connection and empathy was exactly what Garbo Aurora was looking to create at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Not only to inspire leaders to take action, but also to influence donors to increase funding for disaster response efforts.
I'd started experimenting with using innovative ways of advocacy, and I started talking to a lot of different partners and people. What could we do that would be incredible? And someone said, I just came from a meeting at Samsung, and, with some of these other virtual reality headsets, wouldn't it be amazing if you got all of those elite people who could actually go to a refugee camp, or they could go to an Ebola clinic? I just really felt it would get our issues highlighted.
In addition to the screenings at Davos, virtual reality portals have been set up to view the films at high-level political forums around the world. The virtual reality film on display was Clouds Over Sidra.
Clouds Over Sidra is a short film in virtual reality about a girl named Sidra who lives in Zaatari camp, which is a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan. And it is a story about a young girl who is giving you a tour of the camp, of what it's like, what her life is like. When the film debuted in Davos, it was a sensation to everyone we showed it to. They come out of it very deeply moved. I'd say half the people who watch Clouds Over Sidra cry. And then we cut a version for UNICEF, where it's face-to-face fundraisers. The way they do that is usually